how I became interested. So I've always liked working with kids, and I work at a summer camp over the summer, so I knew that I wanted to do something with kids for senior options, and I love Fox Meadows, so I wanted to go back, and I like working with younger kids more than older kids. I just think sometimes they're easier to work with, and so I decided to work with a first grade teacher because I have her in 4th grade, and then she recently moved from 5th to 1st grade. So I thought that was a great idea because I wanted to work with younger kids, and it just ended up working out really well because the teachers that I had when I was younger at Fox Meadow ended up leaving. And I also had somewhat of an interest in becoming a teacher, so I thought that this would be a good experience to just try to figure out what I sort of wanted to do. Okay. So basically a typical day at school, you get to school, and then in the morning we have a morning meeting, and basically the kids do the weather. It's 1st grade, so they're learning how to count and do different things. So they do the weather, they put the days on the calendar, they count the number of days of school it is, and they put in the money jar, and they're learning how much money is worth. And then after that, it usually lasts 5 or 10 minutes, and then there's usually different lessons, or specials. So in the beginning of the day, it'll be music, or there might be science, art, reading. It depends on the day. It just it switches almost every day. And then there's lunch, and then after lunch is read aloud. And I really like to read aloud just because after lunch it's hot and stuff, and the kids just are quiet, and it's 1st grade, so they get really crazy sometimes. So it's nice that there's a quiet period of time where we can all just kind of relax. And we ended up reading Charlotte's Web, which is one of my favorite books, so that was fun to just listen to. It was being in 1st grade again, because sometimes I read the book, but other times I would just sit and listen. And then the same thing basically happens after read aloud. They have either a special, or they'll have science, or something usually different than what they had in the morning. And then dismissals at 3:15, and they get to school at 8:45. So out of the classroom, I organized papers and stuff. This is some projects they did. I would do copies of different homeworks that they might have, and sometimes my teacher was new to 1st grade. It was her 1st year, so we really had to recreate a lot of stuff from other teachers. So I would one teacher had a math binder, and so I had to go and recreate the whole math binder for my teacher, Mrs. Trani. And so I made new games that they had from other teachers, just so my teacher would have them for next year. And I ended up mounting a lot of their classwork in the classroom, and organizing their stuff so they could send it home. So what I did in the classroom is I mostly helped the students. I was just kind of a second teacher to them, because they were working on a lot of big projects while I was there. So this is when I first got there, they were raising chicks, and they hadn't hatched yet, but this is their chick journals. It's kind of hard to see, but they would draw a diagram of whatever, this is day 20, so it was what's supposed to go in the chick box that we would end up with the chicks in. So there's a lamp, and so this is one girl's work. Her name was Emma, and then they would write something about it. So they would describe what they did. So I'd help them with their spelling, or just trying to remember what needs to go in the box, because the teacher would present it, and then they would all go back to their seats, and they don't really have the best memory, so you have to go back and help them. And so I basically walk around the classroom helping the kids. And then I also helped them with math, and they would work in math books. So I just walk around the classroom again, and if kids were a little slower than other kids, I would sit down with them, help them with their whatever problem they're doing, and just try to work through it. A lot of the kids had trouble focusing, so it was really helpful to them. I think that there was another person in the classroom who could go and sit down with them and help them just work through simple problems. Because mostly they just needed to help focus on things, not necessarily they knew how to do this stuff, but they would just get so distracted so easily by the other kids around them. They're all sitting right next to each other at a table, so it's so easy to just turn to your neighbor and just talk to them. So sometimes just having someone else come around sit down with them and help them was really helpful. And like I said, I helped with reading and spelling, and I would grade some of their math and some of their other projects. And then I just basically help them one-on-one if they need help. And these are some of the projects they did. I'll get more into it, but this is they wrote their favorite chick memory, and this is Mira holding her chick. It's kind of hard to see, but they painted chicks and with sponges, and like that was a fun art project that I did. And then this is their nonfiction books that they were working on, and this is another girl's nonfiction book. This is on elephants, and this one was on soccer. So the interaction with the students, it was really fun working with them. They were all like really cute, but it was also hard at the same time because they all have like babysitters that are sort of like around my age. Like it's hard for them to like think of me as like a teacher as well because I'm like the teacher that I work with is like older, like she's like our parents' age. So like for them it was harder to see me as a teacher as well. Like so in the beginning, like they would all like jump on me and like sit on my legs and like come sit on my lap, and like it was harder for me to like tell them like, oh, you can't do that. Like you have to just like respect me like a teacher as well because like they want to play with me and they want to just like have my attention. And then a lot of the kids, like sometimes they wouldn't listen, and that was kind of difficult. So I had to like be really patient with them because like sometimes it's really frustrating like when they're like just not listening and you just keep asking them to do things over and over again. And the staff was really nice, and they like would always be willing to help and were really respectful. And like I would go to other teachers and like talk with them and just like see like what's going on. Like one of my friends was working with a different first grade teacher, and like I would always go over to her class and like talk to her about like what I should do as well, like because she'd been in first grade longer. And this is Kay, and this is Max. They're just working on their projects. Okay, so the major projects they did, well, the first thing we did was hatching chicks. And so we had 7 chicks in our class, which was like really fun, but then they grew really fast, and like then we kind of didn't want them anymore because they were like hard to handle. But the kids loved them, and like they'd always want to play with them and pet them. And they had, like I said before, their egg to chick journals. And so they would, this is on day 6, so they were drawing, they candled the egg and they would draw like what was inside the egg at that stage, and they did it for almost every day until the chicks hatched. And then we also went on a field trip to Stone Barns, which was really fun because we got to see like the farm and what like goes into the restaurant. And I always knew about the restaurant, but like I didn't know that much about the farm. So we ended up going there, and it was like kind of hectic to be on a field trip with them because like there's just so many of them, and like there's only like me and another teacher. But it ended up being fine, and it ended up being a really fun field trip. And we also went to the Met, which was like a different field trip, which was also fun. And then this is one of the chicks. And we had group research projects also when I first got there. And so this is Amanda and Cericia working on their platypus poster. And so since we were studying chicks, they did group research on animals that hatched eggs. So like each group there were 3 people in a group, and each group had a different animal that hatched eggs. So like there were snakes, there were sharks, platypus was one, penguins were another. And so I helped them with their posters because they're in first grade, so this is like a lot for them to do themselves. So like it was hard for them to organize things and like do their research also about their topics. So I helped them with that, helped them with the layout. They were at the tail end of that project when I first came. And then they also had their individual research projects, which was like basically like a bigger step from their group research. So they had to do everything like on their own. Like in the group research, they would split it up, so it wasn't as much work, but like this was all their own work. So I helped them research their topics and organize their books, and they kept research notebooks, so like I'd have to go with them to the library, and we'd check out books and like sit down and like go through it, like organize subtopic sentences, and it was really advanced, I guess, for first grade. Like I didn't think that they would be doing that in first grade, but like I was really impressed by how well they were all able to work, and like their notes were just like so thorough and stuff, even though it was just like first grade. And they ended up making books. So this is one of the books, and this one was on penguins, but there are a bunch of different topics, and it says a penguin is an oviparous animal. They are seabirds with black and white feathers, and then the girl just drew a picture of a penguin and just like described it. So some of the challenges I had was like feeling comfortable within the classroom. It's sometimes like hard to give directions and stuff because they don't always listen to you, and the teacher had to be like more stern with them, and like I never really wanted to be like, I wanted to be their friend, like play with them, but I also had to be a teacher, and I like also had to gain their respect, so that was one of the hard parts. And just like feeling useful in the classroom sometimes, like you don't really like, especially the first couple of weeks, like I didn't really know what to do. Like I'd walk around and like try to help them, but then there'd be like times where they're just like reading, so like I would just sort of like sit or like walk around or like just try to find something to do. And also like they would come up to me with their, especially with their non-fiction books that they're working on, they would come up to me and ask me like, oh, like, does this fact make sense? Like, is this like, okay, can this go here? And like, I felt like it wasn't really like my call to say, because the teacher was like really specific about like what she wanted in the books and what she didn't want. And so I sort of had to make the call for myself. I'd be like, if I thought it was like kind of iffy, I'd be like, oh, go show it to the teacher. But like, if I thought it was like somewhat okay, I'd be like, okay, I can use this, or you can use this, and like you can go work on it in color, and like I just double check their spelling and stuff like that. So this is Emma, and this is Charlotte.